Good day. Today we are having a look at access rights to inquiries, reports, dashboards, and pivot tables in Acumatica. By the end of this session, you should be able to set up access rights to reports, generic inquiries, dashboards, and pivot tables, as well as create a new user and set up their access rights. You can also refer to page 277 of the training manual S130, Data Retrieval and Analysis. I just want to refer to the manual to give you an indication of what these access rights look like. For reports and inquiries, access rights typically can be viewing rights or cannot view, or it can be viewing and editing rights, as you can see on this table. I'm going to be using the Acumatica sales demo data for today's session, and I'm going to take you to the user security, where we're going to be looking at setting up access rights. I'm going to be using Acumatica sales demo data for today's session. Let's go to the user security menu, where we'll be reviewing the access rights. You can set up access by role, by user, or by screen. Roles help you easily manage access rights for groups of users in the system. By changing one role, you alter the access rights of all the users assigned to that role. Let's have a look at access rights by screen. In the left pane, you can go to the relevant report that you would like to amend access rights for. In this example, let's go to Accounts Receivable under Finance, Reports, Analysis, and look for the Daily Sales Profitability. In the right pane, you will see a list of roles with the access rights related to this report. This is where we amend access rights as needed. For reports, there are 3 levels of access. The default is not set. If all the roles' access is not set, the users will have access to the report automatically. If at least one role has revoked or granted access, the not set users is denied access and the form is not displayed in the user interface. Revoked means that access is denied and the form is not displayed in the user interface. Granted means the users with this role can access the report and run it. Let's say, for example, we would like to grant access to the daily sales profitability only to 3 roles, apart from the administrator group: the financial supervisor, the sales manager, and the project accountant. You can now save. Only users connected to these roles will now be able to run this report. Access rights to generic inquiries. We are going to set up rights to the invoiced items generic inquiry. Let's go to Accounts Receivable, Reports, Audit, and Invoiced Items. There you can see our generic inquiry. As you can see in the access rights column, these are stipulated as inherited. This means that the access to this generic inquiry is set at a higher level. Let's go up 1 level. This is where we will set the specific access rights to this generic inquiry. You can specify any of the following access to an inquiry. Not set, the same rule applies as discussed before. If no roles has specific access rights applied, then all users will be able to view and access the report. Revoked means access is denied. View only. This is restricted access. The users can view the form and any records associated with it in drop-down lists, but cannot edit the details of any record or create or delete any records. Edit. The user can select records and create and delete records. Insert. The user can edit to an extent, edit details about any record, and create new records, but cannot delete records. Delete. The user has complete access to the form and its functionality. It combines all the capabilities of view, edit, and insert, and allows the user to delete records. Let's say in this case, we only want the report designers to have full delete rights. And remember to save your change. Let's say we want the sales manager to have insert rights and the rest of the sales team to have viewing rights only. And save your changes. Access rights to dashboards. To edit the access rights to dashboards, Let's go to the user security screen again and go to Access Rights by Screen. Go to Organization and Dashboards. The same level of access as previously discussed under Inquiries are available here and can be set per role. This will restrict the access to the dashboard's form. In addition to this, we need to specify the access rights to specific dashboards. Go to Customizations and Dashboards. Let's select the AR Clerk dashboard. The tick underneath the name allows users to personalize. If this is ticked, the users can view the dashboards and can also create a personal copy of it. If it is not ticked, they can only view it and not create a personal copy. In the Visible To column, you can select or unselect the roles that can have access to this specific dashboard. Access rights to pivot tables. Access rights to pivot tables work on the same principles as dashboards. Let's go to User Security and Access Rights by Screen. On the left, scroll down to Pivot Tables, and on the right, you can select the roles that have access to the pivot tables form. In this case, we've selected Delete Access for administrators, and let's say the financial supervisor, and save. In addition to this, we need to specify the access rights to specific pivot tables. In the Access Rights by Screen, scroll to the specific pivot table and amend the rights as required. And remember to save. For our next exercise, we are going to create a new user and set up their rights. Go to User Security and under User Management, Users. Here you will be able to add new users, manage existing users, and assign any roles to a specific user. Let's create a new user. Give the user a login name and untick the Generate Password, as we would not like the system to generate its own passwords in this case. You will see that the email field is also a required field. Therefore, add the user's email address. Another function here is that you can force the user to change the password on the next login. And then remember to create the password that you would like to give the user for the first login. Now you can save. Your new user has been created. Now, as you scroll down on the Roles tab, you can assign this user to specific roles that's relevant to their profile. Let's, in this case, select Branch HQ, Branch VA, and Financial Supervisor, and save. This user will now have access to the specific reports and rights that is connected to these roles. For our next step, we are going to use the Access Rights by User form to review the rights of a specific user. Under User Security, go to Access Rights by User. Select the user that you want to review. You can now scroll through the different screens and see the specific access as linked to each of the work areas for this specific user. Let's recap. What we've learned during this session: we have learned how to specify access rights to inquiries, reports, dashboards, and pivot tables. You have also created a new user and set up rights to this user using the user's form. And you have reviewed the access rights for a specific user in the Access Rights by User screen. If you have any other questions, speak to your Friendly About IT consultant. Thank you.